couple of weeks while that process is carrying on. So for me, that was a quote that really struck me in terms of summarising tonight. An overview of the session, before we go any further, we do have 4 presenters, and we have had some comments from a couple of parents who weren't able to make it tonight, and what they've asked is, could we record tonight's session and therefore share it with others who are not here? So we are going to, from just now, record the rest of the session, and it will be posted for everyone, so you can go back and relive the session. But more importantly, for those parents, carers, young people who couldn't make it tonight, and they can therefore go and access the session at their leisure. I am delighted that, as I said, we've got over 100 participants here, but I'm also delighted that we've been joined by some of our partners in order to deliver the session. So it's going to be kicked off by myself. I'm Tim Woodcock, I'm the Deputy Head here at Perth Grammar. I'm going to be discussing about negotiating the pathways through the Perth Grammar options, and also the option process in particular. I'm then going to hand over to Sam Auld, one of our Principal Teachers of Guidance, who's going to talk to us about the guidance team supports, what sort of involvement they have with our young people, and the considerations that should be taken when making choices. We've also been joined by Emma Bowman from Perth College, who's going to look at foundation apprenticeships, quite a new provision that we've been running over the last 4 or 5 years here at Perth Grammar, in partnership with Perth College, and in addition to the foundation apprenticeships, also the Perth College offer as well. That's a very strong offer that we've got. And finally, we've also been joined by Gail Sinclair from SDS, Skills Development Scotland, who's also going to be discussing alternative pathways and the supports that are provided by SDS as well. So it's not just going to be myself. There are a range of partners who are going to be inputting tonight, and we're looking at around about an hour, so about 10-15 minutes per presenter, and then, as I said, the opportunity for some questions and answers at the end of the session. So without further ado, we have the most busy slide of the whole session. This is our curricular structure, and really why I was wanting to put this up was to show you exactly where we are in terms of our journey for our young people from S1 through to S6. So from the top down, the first line there is looking at our S1 and S2 curriculum, and what you can see there is that there's lots of subjects, and going from left to right is the subjects and the number of periods that they've got. So what you'll see there is we've got maths, we've got English, who are getting 4 periods each, we've got modern languages, sciences, home ec, technologies, computing, business, social studies, expressive arts, and then some...
Sorry, there's no slides showing up on the screens, just to let you know.
Apologies, is nobody seeing that at all?
We're seeing it. We're seeing it.
You see it.
We don't see it.
I can see it.
Yeah, it's fine.
I can't see it.
No. I can't see it.
Okay, so we've got a wee mixture. I'll stop presenting, and then I'll share it again.
You might have to change the view on it.
That's it now. Thank you.
Got it.
Perfect. Can anybody just turn your mic on if you can't hear that, if you can't see that? Perfect. I'll take that as we're good to go. So as I was saying, this is the busiest slide of the night. Along the top there, we've got our first and second year curriculum. Basically, a wee bit of everything is how we describe it. It's an opportunity for young people to experience all the different subjects we have in S1 and S2, and there's no options within that, because what we feel is that the young people haven't had the opportunity to experience everything yet, and therefore can't make reliable and valid options. Then moving into S3, we continue with our maths and English, but then we've got 7 other columns, 7 other subjects that the young people can then start to personalise and choose their curriculum. However, that's within curricular areas. So one of the columns is modern languages, one's science, one's technologies, one's social studies, and one's expressive arts. So although it's a choice, it's still within our broad general education, and it's still within some of the parameters that we have to work in. So therefore, it's a bit of choice, but not complete freedom. However, moving from S3 into S4, which is where we are tonight, we've got some young people moving into S4, some moving into S5, and some into S6, who are here tonight, and obviously the parents and carers of those as well. So as we move into S4, what's really important for us is that we're moving from those 9 subjects, the 7 that we've picked plus English and maths, we're moving down to 6. And those 6 that we're taking in S4 come from the 9 that we've done in S3, and that's really, really key for us. However, one of the parameters that we do continue to have in S4 is that we're continuing with our English and Maths for every young person. So really, we've actually only got 4 choices as we move into S4, because that English and Maths is compulsory. And then as we move into S5 and 6, we continue with the theme of having 6 subjects in S5. Again, carrying on those subjects that we're taking on from S4, we're progressing those into S5 as much as we can, unless there's some exceptionality to that. And then as we move into S6, again, we've got 6 subjects. However, in the bottom left there, you'll see there's a wee asterisk. There's always an exception to the rule. So in S6, what we're saying is there's 6 subjects for every young person unless they're doing advanced hires, and then we are able to reduce the contact time for young people who are doing advanced hires, given the nature of those courses. What are we trying to do with our curriculum is ensure that we are creating pathways for all. So in this visual, what we're saying is basically schools at the middle of where we are just now, and we're trying to ensure that there's a pathway for every young person within Perth Grammar School, whether it's out to the left there, straight into the workplace, whether it's to college and then to work, whether it's into apprenticeships and then to work, or whether it's to university and then to work. But what you see in that cycle is ultimately we're trying to prepare young people for the world of work. However, whatever that pathway is, whether it's straight there from S4 or S5, or whether a young person staying with us until the end of S6 and then going somewhere else as well. But ultimately, we're trying to tailor our curricular offer to make sure it suits every young person. How we do that then is we're making sure that these courses are at a variety of different levels. And what we work within is the Scottish Credit and Qualification Framework that you can see here. So the framework goes from level 1 all the way through to level 12. And this framework works within schools, it works within colleges, it works within university and training providers. So everyone who's delivering some form of education works within this SCQF framework, as we call it. However, the big arrows there are saying ultimately in Perth Grammar School, we're looking at SCQF level 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 for our young people. Again, there's a wee caveat there. Young people who've got significant additional support needs might be working at SCQF level 1 and 2, but for our young people in mainstream moving into S4, 5 and 6, we're really looking at SCQF level 3 onwards. And typically, as we're moving into S4, we'd be looking at SCQFs level 4 and 5 with a small number of young people working at 3. And then as we move into S5, we would introduce level 6, and then as we move into S6, we would increase into level 7 there. So why I'm telling you that is we have a large number of courses here at Perth Grammar School, and when you're looking through the Pathways booklet and when you're looking through the option choice forum, you'll see all the courses will have a level, SCQF level assigned to them. And as I said, that will work from SCQF level 3 to 7. And later on in the presentation, I'll show you the sort of pathways through it. But it's really about making sure that when we're making those choices, we're understanding the appropriate level that we're working at, and making sure that we understand what that progression route is within that subject that we're in, and then to the next level as well. So these are also often referred to as Nationals 3, 4 and 5. National Progression Awards we've got within our suite of qualifications, as we have hires as well, and Foundation Apprenticeships, which Emma Bowman will talk about later. You'll also see Advanced Hire and the Baccalaureate as well. So down in the bottom left-hand corner, those are the terms that we'll be using, but they're always assigned an SCQF level so that we can understand how we're moving through that framework. Okay, and what's on offer? So that's the levels that we've got on offer. That's what we're trying to do. What types of subjects do we have on offer? Well, what I haven't done in this slide is try and encapsulate every subject that we have to offer, because the list is too vast. What I have tried to do is look at the different categories that we try and put our subjects into. So we've got what we call the more traditional subjects: your English, your maths, your biologies, your French, your histories. The subjects where, if they weren't there, you'd be quite surprised, I think would be the best way to describe a traditional subject. A vocational subject, one that's more of a practical nature and more work-based. So we've got things like hospitality, sports coaching, photography, cybersecurity, practical craft skills. We've also, what we're constantly trying to do is make sure that we're reacting to the young people and the needs of the young people here at Perth Grammar School. So we've actually got 5 additional courses that are coming on stream this year in construction, creative thinking, music technology, the Mental Health and Wellbeing Award, and practical science. So these are courses that our young people might not have experience of studying prior. There might not be their peers, older brothers or sisters who've got that history and that knowledge of these courses. But I would flag them to you because they are very, very good courses. And as I said, we're looking to bring them online this year, so they are within the suite of courses that we have to offer. In addition, what I'd also like to flag is it's not just Perth Grammar School staff that deliver the courses for our young people. So we also are supported very well by Perth College. At the moment this year, we've got 110 young people who should be travelling up to Perth College, but who are engaging with courses at Perth College, and a variety of different courses there that, as I said, Emma will come on to touch on later. At the moment, that's all been delivered, or it's about 50-50 being delivered virtually and practically. But hopefully, as we move into next session, that's all going to be back up at Perth College again to enrich that experience for our young people. In addition to Perth College, we're also one of the Perth City campus schools. So we partner with St John's Academy, we partner with Perth High School, and we partner with Perth Academy. And what our arrangement is that for a portion of our week, we share the same timetabling times. So therefore, it means that we can share some courses. So courses that, for example, might be lower in number, and we might not be able to run ourselves, nor would any other school be able to run itself on its own, because it might only have 2 or 3 young people. Actually, by pooling the numbers from across the 4 schools, we're able to run the course. And that does see some of our young people travelling from here to St John's or up to Perth Academy or up to Perth High School for 5 periods a week. And it also sees some young people from these schools coming to visit us and sitting in our classes for a period of the week as well. And again, that's a very successful arrangement that's been going for a long period of time as well. What we'd like to show just now, and hopefully, okay, that's not working. What I was going to show there was the option forum. Unfortunately, it's not allowing me to access it just now. But I've given you a sort of a taster of some of the courses and the types of courses that we offer. You should have all had, or S3s will have had their option forum last week, and S4 and S5 have been sent that link this morning. So you will, after this session, be able to access the option form, and you'll see the vast array of courses that we have to offer. In addition to that, we also have our Pathways booklet, which you'll have been sent the link to as well, which has some of our courses are really obvious what they are, and others maybe not so. So our Pathways booklet has really detailed information about every single course that we offer, how it's delivered, how it's assessed, sort of homework information within it, and progression through it, what comes next after studying that course as well. So it's a very, very good read. It's a huge booklet, upwards of around about 200 pages, but really good to just dip in and dip out. So if we're looking at things like sports coaching, I'm not sure what that is, you can look up the index, go to page 78, go and have a read of the single page of sports coaching, and then come back out again. So a very, very useful tool. Okay, our options process here. How are we making these decisions? So we've got this range of different courses that are on offer, and we've got that range of different levels. So therefore, how are we making the decisions here? So what we're saying is, and I'm going to try and not touch on too much of what Sam's going to come on to talk about in a couple of minutes, but we're really looking for some information from tonight, hopefully, to be taken away, information from PSE classes where our guidance teachers have been teaching, information from the Pathways booklet that I was talking about there, one-to-one conversations with guidance teachers, which are going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks, subjects that young people are already studying, understanding those progression pathways within them, websites like MyWow, My World of Work, UCAS, college websites, feedback from parent contact evening that we've had earlier in the session, and tracking reports, and also those career aspirations as well. So all that information pulled together is hopefully allowing us to make a really good, strong, informed decision about where we're going. And I suppose what I'm trying to illustrate within this slide is what we talk about when we mean pathways. So this evening was titled the Senior Phase Pathways Information Evening, because what we try and describe is that it's not just about, as we move into S4, what are we taking this year in S4 and which six subjects am I going to be taking, but it's also about looking forward then to S5 and S6. If a young person knows they're staying at school until the end of S6, it's looking at the senior phase, S4 to 6, is a sort of 3-year cycle and a 3-year period of education, and really trying to plot that out. So if I'm currently in S3 and doing art and design at the top there, and I'm moving into S4, what this is illustrating is I can go straight into National 4 Art and Design if that's my appropriate level. However, you'll see there from the wee squiggly line that's going around the outside of that blue square there, that actually National 4 Art and Design might not be appropriate, and actually I could possibly go from S3 straight to National 5 Art and Design. That might be my course choice for S4, and then I want to be thinking, well, actually in S5, I'm then wanting to be going on to take higher art and design, and I realise that's an option there, and I can see what my end game is going to be. I might then want to be taking that through to advanced higher art and design, and where might that take me? Might take me into a degree within this specific field that I'm talking about, or it might be that actually I'm dropping out at higher art and design, and I can see there that it's given me a really clear path into a HND at college, and therefore that's a really clear pathway for me. So these pathways are very clear through all the different curricular areas. This is looking at expressive arts in particular, so looking at music, drama and art, but actually there's a similar type of pathway through all of our different subject areas that we've got, all our curricular areas, whereby we can pick that course within S4, we can attain whether it's National 4, whether it's National 5 in 4th year, and then we can then start to look at what is the options for me within that subject area as we move into S5. It may be that I'm progressing onto a National 5 or a higher, or it may be that there's a separate course within that faculty that it then opens up for me as well. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is that there's lots of different pathways and lots of different ways to manoeuvre your way through the curriculum here at Perth Grammar School, but it's really, really important that we're seeing it as a 3-year pathway, and not just next year, not just moving into S4 or not just moving into S5, but that we're actually seeing the different pathways and really starting to plot that and plan that cycle as we move forward. Okay, lastly, the options process. So what then happens? So we've made those choices. We've taken all this information that we've got tonight. We've taken all that information from parents' evenings, from PSE. We've spoke with our guidance teacher. We've had some had a look at some of the websites, and we've made that option choice, and we've completed our forum. What happens next? So the process goes like this. So next up is that the guidance team, once the options close, the guidance team then look at all the options for all the young people, and they'll then carry out one-to-one meetings with every young person where they're ultimately verifying the options. So having a conversation, talking through the option process, and making sure if a young person's moving into S4, that those options have been taken from the suite of courses that they're taking in S3. As we move into if we're moving into S5, that those courses are taken from the courses we've done in S4, and therefore there's that option for progression. If there's not the progression there, it's then having that conversation about, well, why have we tried to take 4 different subjects that we've not had experience from, and we're trying to tease that out. Next up, after all the options have been verified, what we then do within the school is we take all that information, which at the moment, when you see the option form, it's what we call a free choice. So there's no columns to it. What we're doing is saying, here are all the different courses that we offer here at Perth Grammar School, and ultimately we're asking young people to pick the 6 choices that they want to study the most. So in other schools at this point in time, they would be putting it into an option forum with columns which say these certain subjects are in these columns, and you have to pick from that suite of courses. Within Perth Grammar School, we don't do that, and we give everybody a free choice. After all the choices are verified, then we start making we start the timetabling process where we put things into columns, where we use complicated software, which allows us to ensure that we're getting as many choices right for the young people as possible, and that we're making sure that we're not cutting off any pathways, and that the choices that the young people want to study are the ones that we can put on within our curriculum. That then enables us to timetable. However, what I would say here is, at this point in time, there will always be around about 10% of young people who we can't get options for. It's just not possible for us given the range of courses. So there would then be conversations to recourse a small number of young people into something else that is suitable. This kind of process happens within every school across the country, but by doing the process the way that we do it, with a free choice first and then putting it into columns, allows us to please more young people and make sure that they're getting the options that they really require. This is the timetable happens, and then this year we'll be looking to change our timetable in the middle of June, so just before the summer, a wee bit later than normal, but round about mid-June, given the changes that we've had recently. So that's the pathways through our options here at Perth Grammar School and all the different subjects that we have. That's a wee bit about the option choice process. I'm now going to hand over to Sam Auld, our Principal Teacher of Guidance, and hopefully I've not stolen too much of our content. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and invite Sam to take control.
Fab. Thank you so much, Tim. I really appreciate that. Just bear with me a wee second. I'm going to share my screen, hopefully. Fingers and toes crossed.
Folks, we've decided to do it this way tonight, whereby although I have the whole presentation, what I've asked every presenter to do is just to take control of the screen. It takes about 30 seconds to do it, so it's a wee bit of a break in the evening, but it does allow the presenter then to control the pace of the slides themselves. So that's the reason for the constant changing. Okay.
So hopefully everybody can see that now. If somebody can let me know that they can, that would be amazing.
Yep, that's good, Sam.
Fab, perfect, thank you very much. So just to introduce myself to everybody, I'm Sam Auld, I'm Principal Teacher of Guidance for Erin House, and I'm just going to take you through a wee presentation about the guidance teacher's role within course choice, and just give you a bit of information, some key dates, and some key bits and pieces of information that should help and support both yourselves, because I know there's lots of pupils on here tonight, and parents and carers to make the right decisions. So guidance teacher's role within course choice is to support all pupils to make appropriate choices for next year, but also for their pathway moving forward throughout senior phase and onto further education or a job. Our key role within this will be meeting with all pupils one-to-one. So all pupils will be sent an invite for a one-to-one meeting with their guidance teacher, and this email will be sent through their Glow email address. And parents, you're welcome to attend these meetings. Below is the information about the meeting dates, but once the pupil has been sent an email on Glow, it will then go into their Teams calendar as well. So they'll either be able to access the meetings through the Glow link, or they can go into their calendar and it'll be there. So for pupils from S3 into S4, your meeting date will be the 19th of February. So that's obviously this Friday. And then moving forward, S4 into S5, meeting dates will be the 26th of Feb and the 1st of March, and same for S5 into S6. What I would say though is that we are going to try our best to do as many of those meetings on those dates as possible. However, they may well, particularly with the 5th and 6th year meetings, they may well need to take place a little bit later into the following week, the first week in March, just because we're trying to get as many people as possible seen, and because obviously we've got to factor in with the government's announcement today that we're going to be having some pupils in school accessing practical subjects. So bear with us is basically what I'm trying to say. We will get all of those meetings done as soon as possible, but if I can ask pupils to ensure that they're checking their Go emails for their invites for those meetings. Okay. During these meetings, any issues, questions, concerns and pathway progression will be discussed. So if anybody has any questions about course choice at all, that can be raised within the meeting. Okay. Prior to the meeting, however, pupils will be expected to submit their course choice selections by the deadlines given. So S3 into S4, your deadline is obviously tomorrow, deadline at 1 p.m. tomorrow, and then S4 into S5 and S5 into S6, your deadline is the 24th. Okay, it's essential that all pupils meet these deadlines. Submitting later than the deadline could impact the ability to get the subjects they want, and it means that the discussion and the preparation that guidance will do prior to the one-to-one meetings is much more difficult. So basically, we're going to be collating all the information, and prior to the one-to-one meetings, we'll be looking through what subjects each pupil has chosen and looking at whether that relates to the subjects they've already done, and kind of teasing out bits and pieces of information so we are prepared for the meeting. So it's really, really important that you all pupils meet the deadline, basically. Okay. However, subjects can be changed during the meeting with guidance. That's kind of the whole point of the meeting, is that we're going to discuss any kind of questions, queries, any subjects you're not sure of, to make sure that we're getting the absolute appropriate subject choice for each individual pupil. And guidance can then change any course choices or any subjects during that meeting as well. So that's no problem. And just to kind of touch on some of the stuff, maybe that Tim talked about a little bit, but I just want to make sure that we're kind of giving you the information that you need to be thinking about for your making your course choice. So subjects selected in S4 will dictate what you can pick in future years. So Tim touched on the fact that what you pick in S3 will dictate what you pick in S4, and same moving forward. And you want to be thinking about what your 3-year kind of pathway in school is going to look like, and thinking about any ideas that you've got about pathways once you leave school. So thinking about, are you thinking college? Are you thinking apprenticeship? Are you thinking university? Are you thinking work? And thinking about, well, how do I support that? What subjects can I pick that make sure that I can achieve the pathway that I want? So if you're in S3 and you're picking your S4 subjects, please don't just think about it as an S4. Please think about your whole pathway moving forward. So if you're picking, the subjects you're picking in S4 will dictate what you can then pick in S5 and in S6. So you need to be thinking about it as a 3-year journey, not just thinking about it for next year. Okay. It's also really important, as we talked about, selecting subjects you previously studied to ensure progression and attainment. Okay. It's really, really important that you're picking subjects that you've got prior knowledge of to support your progression moving through the school. Okay. When thinking about course choices, I know Tim touched on this a wee bit, but when thinking about course choices, it's also important to research college, university, entry requirements for the courses you're considering. UCAS is a great resource for this, but also places like My World of Work, Perth College website, loads of other kind of college websites will be useful for this. So if you've got an idea of your future plans, your kind of positive destination after school, understanding what the entry requirements or the expectations of them will be is really important for then being able to pick your subjects appropriately. Okay. Further to that, if pupils are unsure of future plans, because I know that there are a huge number of kids that are, then ensuring that you're maintaining a breadth of choice in your subjects is really important. So not narrowing down completely and then leaving yourself with very little options once you decide on your career path. So making sure that you've got a breadth of choice and you've got a breadth of subjects, so you've got options for when you do decide on what you want to do. Okay, so that's just a wee bit of information about what guidance teachers will do, our role within course choice. We're here to support, we're here to help. Okay, so although we've got one-to-one meetings, if you do need us at any other time, you can contact the school through the Perth Grammar email address and we can get back to you. But if you've got any questions at the end, I'm happy to take them as well. I think I'm going to then hand on to, I'm now thinking that it's Emma.
I'm going to come back in for 2 seconds, Sam,
yeah,
if
feel
that's
free,
okay.
Tim. Of course, yeah. I am just going to stop sharing my screen, hopefully. There we are, sorted.
Perfect. So I should now be sharing my screen, and earlier on I was mentioning the range of courses that we've got, and I put up a wee sample within one of the slides, and I was trying to get the link to our option forum, which wasn't live yet. We've now managed to remedy that. So here's the link that you've been sent this afternoon. it didn't go live earlier on. We were wanted to go live after the session tonight, so that's it just gone live. You'll be able to access this from now onwards. I'm just going to flick through. So there's some key information there about completing the form, about making sure that information is accurate, name, surname, the classes that we're in. However, what I really wanted to show was the list of courses that are on offer here, and just to illustrate what I was talking about earlier on about SCQF levels. So we've got some courses on offer at SCQF level 4 and 5 here. When you see administration, you'll then also see it there at level 6. So it's really, really key that when we're completing the form, we're understanding that SCQF framework that I showed earlier on, and understanding whether is it level 4 or 5, so is it national 4 or 5 that I'm taking, or is it SCQF level 6, is it actually higher admin that I'm wanting to take, and making sure that we're picking the right course. So that's one part to it, is understanding the SCQF levels down the right hand side, but also seeing the number of subjects here that we have on offer. And this sort of idea of, at the moment, it's a free choice. It's not in columns. There's nothing that's conflicting with anything just now. What we're asking is, in the ideal situation, which 6 courses would you ideally study? So I'll just scroll through very slowly there. So we've got our typical ones like art, admin, we've got our biologies, our business managements, our chemistries, our computing. We've got there our construction and creative thinking skills, those 2 new courses that I was talking about. Community Sports Leader Award down in PE, cybersecurity, some of our more vocational awards. I've not mentioned every single one, but hopefully this gives you an illustration of the sort of volume of courses that we have to offer, and also again why a session like tonight and the other supports that we've got in place, why they're so key. So we're down there, health and food tech history, onto hospitality, lab science, again one of our new courses, maths, mental health and wellbeing, another new course in there, as with music technology, our photography we mentioned earlier on, our PE, physics, our RMPS or Spanish, and then COL. These are then the suite of college courses that we have on offer. And again, Emma's going to touch on them in about 30 seconds once I stop talking. But the COL, these are our college courses that we have on offer. And yeah, I will stop talking now because I'm going to start encroaching on Emma's presentation. And I will take this opportunity to pass over to Emma, who I can see is sitting ready and waiting.
Hi everyone, I'm Emma Bowman. I am the Foundation Apprenticeship and Schools Programme Coordinator at Perth College UHI, and I'm just going to speak to you briefly about some opportunities we have available at college. And if you just bear with me, I will share my screen, hopefully. Fantastic, so that should be the slides up there. So we'll just touch on school-college partnership courses. These are courses that you can do at college while you're still at school. And then I'll briefly touch on opportunities available for after school if you're thinking about, as Sam mentioned, your sort of positive destination. And then happy to answer any questions at the end. So the first part of my presentation then is looking at foundation apprenticeships. These are open to you if you're currently in S4 and you're making your choices for S5, then you can consider a foundation apprenticeship. You may know people in the years above you who are currently doing one, and I'd encourage you to speak to them about their experience. But basically a foundation apprenticeship is a 2-year qualification that's done in 5th and 6th year alongside the Nat 5s and higher you do at school. But the difference is you spend time away from school either with us at college or out with a local employer. This is an SCQF level 6 qualification and is equivalent to at least 1 higher, and does offer UCAS points if you're thinking about progressing to university. The main thing about a foundation apprenticeship is it's real, relevant, and you get hands-on learning experience. It's a mixture of practical and academic, and you get to work with subject specialists and network with industry experts. So foundation apprenticeships, one of the real benefits is that all the skills you gain are transferable, and it can offer wider career choices, pathways you might not have thought of, or it might help you decide that actually a career in that area isn't what you want after all. But you can take those skills, take the qualification, and then go on to whatever it is you want to do. We've had young people progress to work, sometimes with the employer that we've matched them up with for their work placement, a modern apprenticeship, a graduate apprenticeship, a college course, or off to university. Foundation apprenticeships do enhance your CV, make you more employable and stand out from the crowd. So this August then, starting later this year, we've got 6 frameworks, which you can see on this slide here. I'll run through each one very, very quickly, but there's loads more information on our website, so I would encourage you to have a look. But engineering then and civil, both of these are quite content heavy in college, and your work placement is 2 solid weeks in the second year. So for engineering, anyone that's looking to go into any form of mechanical, electrical, even if you're not sure what aspect of engineering would be of interest for a career, this is quite a broad-based qualification, really quite content heavy. So we do ask that you have that you're working towards level 5 mathematics. And similarly with civil, there's a lot of maths involved, and the work placement does come at the end as well. But civils, we work closely with companies like Balfour Beatty, looking at the local infrastructure, building roads, bridges, and the infrastructure really to help people get around their daily lives. The next 4 frameworks, these are all 50%. The first year is undertaken in college, and the second year is undertaken with an employer. So every Friday you're either with us or you're out getting your hands-on work experience. So children, young people is a really good one if you're thinking about possibly working in a nursery environment, or if you're thinking about becoming a teacher, quite a good broad-based understanding. And we work with lots of local nurseries for your work experience. Business skills is a really interesting one. It's quite broad-based in terms of administration, marketing, IT, finance, and you can tailor the work placement with all of these, but with business skills especially, because all businesses need business skills, and you can really tailor that to your interests. Creative and digital media is our newest framework, and this is looking at the digital skills to support essentially marketing functions, so graphic design, photography, social media, and that's been a really popular one as well. And then finally we have our healthcare, working with local providers, mainly within the NHS, but also some private providers, to give a really hands-on placement in the second year. And your first year is really learning the underpinning theory, and this is quite good if you're thinking about a paramedic, being a paramedic, or working within mental health, or becoming a nurse, and then all of these can feed really nicely into that FA. So touched on then that we work with a lot of local employers. This is just an example of some of the employers we work with. Obviously this year things have been a bit different, and we're doing a lot of the work placement elements online, but as Mr. Woodcock touched on earlier, this isn't our intention. For the next academic year, we're going to do everything we can to get pupils in college and out on a physical work placement. So as I mentioned earlier, universities do accept foundation apprenticeships as part of their entrance criteria, but the value they attribute to them does depend on the university. So it's really important that you have a look at their prospectus, and make sure that the FA will contribute to the entry requirements that you need to meet the course. I'm not going to play this video because it often causes things to crash, but if you have a look on YouTube and just type in Perth College UHI, you will find loads of videos that we made this year about foundation apprenticeships and schools programmes, and just gives you a bit of an insight into what pupils have thought about doing these qualifications. But we've had a lot of positive feedback, mainly around things like, increasing confidence, as well as making those really important connections with local employers. We actually had somebody last year who did his work placement with Aviva and then got offered a full-time job off the back of it. So we've had some really, really positive outcomes, but 100% of young people go from an FA somewhere positive. So just to summarise then, it's a sort of blend of school, college and the workplace, and lets you experience college and the workplace in a really supported way. And we do pay your travelling expenses as well. But I appreciate possibly a foundation apprenticeship isn't for everyone, and I know there's several year groups on this call, so we do have a range of courses available for S4, 5 and 6, and a couple for S3 as well, in a wide variety of subjects, and there's really too many to discuss all in one go tonight, so it's really a case of having a look at our website. But there's a lot of accredited qualifications, MPAs, and we even have some level 7, SCQF level 7 qualifications, and these are units out of some of our degree programs. So that can give a really useful insight into a potential pathway into university, and again can help you make those decisions. So if you're feeling really enthusiastic and you want to apply, the best thing you can do is speak to your guidance teacher and have a look at our website. The web link is on the top of this slide here. We've got every single course has got a course page with information. There's a couple that are not open for application yet, but they will be very soon. But it's really about checking the entry requirements and then completing an online application form, and your guidance teacher can support you with this process. So just in my last couple of minutes then, I'm just going to touch on some opportunities for after school. Obviously, we are a local college, but we're also a university as part of the University of the Highlands and Islands. But choosing to come to do a college university course with us after school can be something to think about. Obviously, there's loads and loads of different colleges and unis, so I'd really recommend checking out loads of open days. You can do this, really, even if you're in S4 and you're not sure where you want to progress to, you can still engage with an open day and find out more about particular qualifications or careers and see what pathway you might want to go into. So all of our qualifications then, our aim is to lead you into a particular employment or a career. They're nationally recognised. You get the opportunity to meet new people and possibly stay at home for the first couple of years of education. As we're a college as well as university, we have quite small groups in terms of class size, so it would be similar to the class sizes that you experience at school. And we also have high levels of student support. And at Perth College UHI, we have a huge range of courses. Again, too many to go into loads of detail, but I'll just, the next couple of slides, just show you the kind of things that we have to offer. Childcare, creative, engineering. We've also got a big aircraft engineering department as well. And then we move on like sciences, hospitality, business, care, construction. So there's loads and loads to choose from. And we kind of, because we have that college and university option, we can basically accommodate anybody. So if you're a school leaver, if you leave with national 5s, we'd probably put you in at NQ level, which is like the year before a degree. And then you could feed into a degree and go in through that pathway, or you can leave at any point at the end of the year with a valuable qualification. And similarly, if you leave with 1, 2, 3 hires, there's a pathway into degree or college level qualification to put you on the journey to employment. So if you're interested in any of the courses, the schools courses or the courses for after school, do engage with an open day, and I'd encourage you to do this with any college or university that is of interest to you. More information on our schools courses, and you're more than welcome to contact me at any time if you have any questions. I think I've hit 10 minutes exactly, so I'll just stop sharing my screen now, and I'm happy to take any questions at the end.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you very much. You're certainly closer to your 10 minutes than I was, that's for sure. And thank you very much for your input there. A really broad offer from Perth College, both the foundation apprenticeships and the sort of standalone subjects that they offer. A really broad range there, and something that really complements the curriculum that we offer here at Perth Grammar School. So thank you very much for that. Next up, we're going to pass over to Gail Sinclair from Skills Development Scotland, who is going to talk about the supports that are on offer there, and again some other alternative pathways.
Hello, can you hear me? Hopefully you can.
Yeah, we can hear you, Gail, yeah.
Great, thanks, Tim. Hi, my name is Gail Sinclair. I'm a careers advisor in Perth Grammar and I work for Skills Development Scotland. So this is a few slides just to speak about what we do in school. So we are your career service. What I mainly do in school is I do career interviews for mainly senior pupils, but we are involved in subject choice further down the school. And we also have a website called My World of Work, which there's some links to at the end of my presentation. So I think the presentation is going to be shared, so you'll get all the links to all the careers information that you need. So just thinking about routes, which is what everyone should be thinking about at the moment when it comes to subject choice. Obviously, there's staying on at school, and with that, the possibility of a foundation apprenticeship. Other options would be a job, doing training, college or university, a modern apprenticeship, graduate apprenticeship, or volunteering. So that's something we would discuss during a careers interview. Some people often fall on one side of wanting to do further study, as in college, university, and some people might think about work-based training. So that my job is to think about teasing them out and finding out what is the right pathway for them. We also talk about career management skills. So a lot of what we speak about is about you, about self, about who you are, about your strengths, going back to course choice, what are you good at, and what do you enjoy in your subjects. You're more likely to progress in the subjects that you like and the ones that you're good at. Also thinking about your horizons, thinking about what's out there, about college courses, about university, about further study and what jobs there are. And finally, networks, which is very important. That is about getting you to think about what people can help you out there. So somebody like myself, your guidance teacher, or other contacts with jobs you're interested in. So work experience can be something that's really crucial to good career planning. So if you're thinking about staying on at school, you need to start thinking about the subjects that you may need. So going back to what Miss Auld said, if you have a career in mind, if you have an end goal, you need to think now about the subjects that you need to pick. So you're picking the correct subjects throughout the rest of the few years you'll be at school. So there is websites you can look at to start researching those jobs. And again, I'll share that with you at the end. Do you need work experience? And do you need certain grades? So think about, very often university, for example, will expect a certain level of grade after 5th year. So it's important that you're aware of that before you make your subject choices, going back to what you're good at. If you decide to not stay at school, exploring other options, a modern apprenticeship or a graduate apprenticeship, which I'll come to in a second, or other routes people may take, maybe a gap year, working, college, university. So what is a modern apprenticeship and what is a graduate apprenticeship? So a modern apprenticeship is open to anyone aged 16 to 24. You will gain a qualification while working and earning, and there are over 100 different pathways. They last between 1 and 4 years, depending on the industry, and entry requirements can vary on modern apprenticeships. So there may be a focus more on your skills and experience, and others might require specific qualifications. Also, a graduate apprenticeship is something to be aware of as well. You'll spend 80% of your time working for an employer and earning a wage. You complete a degree at college or university at the same time, designed by and for industry, learn and use relevant skills, open to anyone aged 16 plus with no upper age limit, and entry requirements may vary and normally will require hires or progress from a modern apprenticeship, and it's focused on key growth sectors. If you look on apprenticeships.scot, again, a great website, it tells you about the key growth sectors which is on offer. So this is just a list of websites which I'll just talk you through. My World of Work, so that's Skills Development Scotland specific. On there is career information about getting a job and training, and lots of other tools that we use in school and in class with pupils. Apprenticeships.scot is about apprenticeships. mykidscareer.com is about parents. It's a parent site for kids' careers. So again, it's worthwhile looking at that. And Planet Plus is a good website for searching for jobs by sector and searching for courses. It could be college or university. So it's worth having a look at that website too. Obviously, if you have a sector in mind, if you look on, for example, the NHS website, if you're interested in healthcare, college websites, university websites, and UCAS. And Miss Auld spoke about UCAS. It's a great website for lots of information on there, not just about applying for university, but for other things too. There's a lot of good stuff on there, and company websites. We also encourage people to attend open days. Now, obviously, that's difficult at the moment. They'll do virtual open days or online type sessions. But it's good to get a feel for a campus and for the people that run the course. If you can attend any kind of event that is offered, we'd recommend that. And finally, work experience and networking. So getting as much information about a job from anybody that you know that does it, I think is fantastic. It'll very often teach you if you really want to do something, and maybe it might even show you that you don't want to do something. So it's worthwhile looking at that as well. And finally, this is just a bit of what we do. So we do some information on CV application forms, interviews, and coaching for interviews, about learning about apprenticeships, about realising your strengths, choosing your subjects, which is what tonight's about, and getting to know yourself, learning about the world of work and understanding your options. And that is my sorry, no, it's not my website, it's my email address at the bottom. If you want to contact me, just please do so. And I think that's me.
Gail, that's excellent. Thank you very much for your input tonight.
No problem.
Folks, I've just had a look at the time. We said the session was going to run for an hour, and we've run for 58 minutes, which is absolutely spot on where we were looking to be. I suppose in summary, hopefully we've provided you with a host of information tonight about the options process here at Perth Grammar School, about the supports that are on offer from the guidance team and from SDS there as well. Hopefully we've given you some insight into where you can access some further information, whether it's the stuff sent out by the school in terms of the pathways booklets, or whether it's some external websites. Hopefully we've shared and given you an insight into how many different courses we offer, and not just within Perth Grammar, but also at Perth College as well, and really opening up those avenues. I would like to touch on again the idea of pathways though, and I think that's a theme that's permeated what everybody said tonight all the way through, whether it's looking at what you're doing as you move into S4, S5 or S6. It's really looking at that three-year sort of pathway for you, but ultimately it's also about looking at post-school destinations as well, and that's really what Gail was touching on there, trying to look at where am I going after school? Am I going to the workplace? Am I going to an apprenticeship? Am I going to college, university? And then trying to work back from there, and seeing where my 3-year pathway through the senior phase here is going to really support me to get to the destination that I really want to. Ultimately, we know that not every young person knows what that destination is going to be, and then that's when the other decisions about subjects that they're particularly good at, subjects we've got a particular interest in, and really using those progression pathways that we've mentioned quite a few times. So lots of food for thought tonight. Hopefully lots of reassurance for you that there is support here. And lots of information for you to go away and read, take on and make those decisions with your young people over the next week or so. And as I said, there will be some follow-ups to that. Once the information comes into us about course choice, it'll then be verified, and again further supports will come from that. We did say, however, that we were going to end, we're bang on an hour, but we're going to end with opportunity to have question and answer. There were 4 presenters, so feel free to ask questions of any of the 4 of us.